The Smithsonian Faculty Fellowship Program represents a rewarding academic professional development opportunity for faculty at Montgomery College. The fellowships are a product of a unique collaboration between Montgomery College and the Smithsonian Center for Learning and Digital Access. It's the first of its kind between the Smithsonian Institution and a community college.
Monica Malini is a registered professional engineer and has been an associate professor of physics and engineering at Montgomery College since 2012. She is currently a Level 5 administrator and member of the Germantown Counseling Cadre. In her professional life, Monica has had several life-changing experiences which have shaped her academic and professional directions. Monica is a graduate student at Virginia Tech in their interdisciplinary field of science, technology, and society. At home, she studies genealogy, which has led to some fascinating discoveries in her decision to change her name to align with the preponderance of her family history.
Good afternoon, I'm Monica Malini. The Inca Road is about a journey. For the Inca, it was an engineering feat that was 24,000 miles long. But I had my journey too, leading my class to explore the Inca Road. My immediate objective was using a museum in my Introduction to Engineering Design class. Ultimately, I took my class to the National Museum of the American Indian, where they interrogated artifacts. For me, the Smithsonian Faculty Fellowship was at the nexus of two other life-changing experiences at the same time. One was Science and Technology Studies at Virginia Tech, where I'm a graduate student, and the other was a study abroad in Italy with Montgomery College. In my study abroad tour, the summer before I took my class to the Smithsonian, I was planning my students' museum assignment, and I chose the Pantheon in Rome as the object of my interrogation. I explored the Pantheon inside and out during the day as a tourist, late at night on my own, walking all the way around it, photographing up and down, top and bottom, and in the process raising more questions than answers. This got me in the frame of mind to lead my students in the interrogation of their engineering artifacts. And from these experiences, I also learned the importance of local knowledge. And there's my cohort in Italy. In my fall class, our first inspiration was Temple Grandin, who is not considered to be an engineer, although she designs engineered systems. Coincidentally, Dr. Grandin presented a talk at the Strathmore the same week that my class studied her, and several from the class attended, and we got to meet her. This opened a semester-long inquiry into the question of who gets to be called an engineer, which is how our class engaged with the theme of democracy. Next, the students practiced interrogating objects in our classroom. With this preparation, we visited the National Museum of the American Indian, where we explored the Inca Road exhibit. To my surprise, I found artifacts in the museum that I had learned about in graduate school or in Italy. Does this look familiar? It looks like the Pantheon. So I led the students on through the exhibit of the Inca Road before I turned them loose to find the artifacts of their own exploration.
Just want to go advance.
Okay, so these are the prompts that the students use for their interrogations. What's going on here? How was this used? Why was it designed this way? How would users interact with this object? What are the implications of the design? And what principles of engineering are evident in the artifact? So just keep advancing them every couple of seconds. The students were really into this interrogation and they produced some marvelous results. I was just amazed. So not only did they learn about engineering, but they learned about engineers, the people behind these artifacts, although they were hundreds of years ago. Whether they were called engineers or not, people designed and created the objects, and their designs were shaped by motivations, preferences, experiences, and culture. The students' answers revealed a thoughtful process of interrogation and deep insights, like this. This was from the Inca Road exhibit. We were fascinated by these pots with the pointy bottoms. And so we went through the interrogation and asked ourselves, why would the pots be designed with a pointy bottom? And what's the purpose of this? Why did they have a little animal face? So there are all reasons, and the students teased out the answers. Optionally, I encouraged them to express their findings through haiku. So you'll see some poetry mixed in. Several students really loved the grass bridge, which they still have today, and the bridge engineers continue to rebuild this bridge every year. Not this particular one, this is the museum exhibit, but the actual bridge. I feel like this is only a means toward a larger goal, which turned out to be an evolution in my thinking about teaching critical thinking skills. A few years ago, I wondered exactly what critical thinking means and how I would teach my students to achieve it, how I would do it myself. But the interrogation is the key. Once you start thinking about interrogation, that unlocks the puzzle. The interrogation exercise inspires similar questions that students can ask. So a few more slides, we'll get to the questions. This student was 17, and I found her to be rather immature, but in her interrogation, she was very mature. So it makes me think that there's an alternate way of pedagogy going on here. So similar questions that we might ask generally. What is going on here? What is really going on here? And for engineers especially, do these numbers add up? So now we can take our analytical skills, the things that we're learning in engineering school, and put them to some good use in critical thinking. Why is this being done? What are the implications? What are some alternatives? So I began to assign scholarly literature, technical papers for my students to read, and ask them to use their analytical skills to test some claims in the paper. I knew that I was onto something when a student said, you mean we don't have to agree with this? It had not occurred to them that they don't have to agree with a paper. Just because somebody published a paper, you don't have to believe it. I started on this journey by attending a presentation of a previous fellow. At the time, I didn't know that there was a fellowship. I just wanted to learn how to use the museum in my pedagogy. But after my colleague explained about the fellowship, from that moment, I was committed to joining a cohort. And the cohort is a wonderful part of the experience, meeting with my fellows every week. The weekly exchange is a wonderful dimension that makes the fellowship experience transformational, and it was transformational for me. If these ideas inspire you, then consider this to be our conversation that can get you started, and you can start planning to belong to next year's cohort. Thank you.